I'm Jerry Bolda from Clare Controls over on the East Coast here. The corporate office is in Florida, Sarasota, Florida. I want to just, like I said, thank everybody for joining. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this presentation that I've got, which has the products, the ClareOne ecosystem, the Clare product line, uh, and we'll just walk through some of the screens. And then after that, I'm going to reserve some time and we're going to dive into our brand new dealer programming tool called FusionPro. What FusionPro is where you can do all of your setup for customer accounts, system monitoring. We've consolidated everything into a nice, easy to use. It's a browser-based tool which you can also use on your mobile devices. So it's really simple to get out there. You don't have to lug around a laptop and things anymore to do the Clare programming. You can simply do it from a mobile device. Whatever you have in your pocket typically will work. So, all right, let's get started. This first step, let's take a look at where Clare fits into today's market. Clare fills the gap between the current security platforms and luxury automation systems. Starting at the left side of the screen, we've got our do-it-yourself products that may be purchased online or typically at the big box retail stores. You can pretty much walk into one of these stores and get yourself a doorbell, whether it's Ring or Nest. Most of these types of devices you can add, add them yourselves. But the more you add, more of these devices that you add, the more mobile apps seem to pile up on your customers' devices. Oftentimes, you'll end up with several smart home apps, on their phones or on their tablets. So these doorbells and cameras typically require a small monthly fee as well. I know a lot of the times they're going to have some kind of, they usually charge for cloud storage and things like that. Next, we have the security-centric solutions where recurring monthly revenue is required. Oftentimes, the customer will be charged based on the number of smart home devices that are installed. You typically don't find a free pricing tier in any of those solutions. They have limited integration support, and I know that for a fact, there's monthly fees, and I've seen them become pretty expensive with some of these different brands that are out there. So what about us? What about Clare? We're a little bit different, coming from a smart home background where we have always integrated with security systems and always had remote access, which was free. With this new ClareOne panel, we've introduced an all-in-one solution combining smart home and security into one device. The Clare solution, it's a simple to program, cost-effective, gives RMR choices to dealers, and offers broad integration support. So no matter what you're installing, a system with 3 devices or 30, our pricing tiers stay the same. In other words, we're not going to give you a different fee or charge somebody different. A dealer charge them a different fee, whether you have a doorbell, a thermostat, and maybe a smart light, compared to a full system with wall-to-wall lighting, several thermostats, several different floors in the home. We never raise the pricing for the amount of devices that are installed. The last step on this little timeline or chart here is the full home automation systems. If you're looking to do a large custom integration with rooms of entertainment, remote controls, home theaters, and more, Control 4 is the perfect upsell opportunity. You can add your ClareOne panel to the Control 4 system. It's very, very simple. As we have a certified Control 4 driver, the ClareOne panel will auto-discover, so minimal programming is required. It's really, really simple. So even if you already have a customer that's got Control 4 installed with a nice custom automation system with theaters and whatnot, you can very simply add a ClareOne panel to that programming, and we will auto-discover the ClareOne panel. So it's very, very easy. Let's talk about the ClareOne ecosystem. We're pretty much saying goodbye to using multiple apps to control security, garage doors, audio, and other devices. You can easily program all of your security sensors and smart home devices through our FusionPro platform. FusionPro is accessible on laptops, tablets, or whatever mobile device you use. We've consolidated all of our programming, including professional security monitoring configuration, into a simple, easy-to-use platform. Like I said, we will get into FusionPro. Toward the end, I will make sure I leave enough time to just take a quick tour, see how things are programmed, and see how easy it really is. So we've got one app Clare has always been a leader when it comes to integrating devices and brands that customers trust. There's no longer a need to have separate apps for locks, music, thermostats, lighting, or whatever the customer happens to be using. You can simply put a ClareOne panel into a home, even if it's already got quick set locks, a Sonos system, other devices like that, and we will integrate to those different devices so that pretty much they'll have all of those devices under one umbrella, which would be the Clare Home app. So with the new Clare Home app, not only is it consistent with the ClareOne panel interface, we also have introduced enhanced security measures keeping your customers safe. It's now easier than ever to manage additional app users and control who has access to the Clare Home system. We'll get into that too when we get into the FusionPro programming. You'll see we have a nice onboarding process. So you're not just simply doing an install, swiping away the customer's phone and doing, downloading an app and handing it back. There's a little bit of a process to it now where it's a little bit easier. It's a little more trustworthy system that the customers will use. ClareOne panel steps up performance by unifying smart security with advanced smart home control, personalized for the user. One of the main ideas we focused on is simplicity. With the ClareOne panel, as soon as you boot this up and you start doing an installation, it's gonna pop up a startup wizard. So it's never been easier or simpler to just walk through this wizard. It'll go through Wi-Fi, adding security sensors, PIN numbers, and things. So with a beautiful contemporary design on the outside, the ClareOne is packed with technology on the inside. There's LT radio for emergency cell reporting. There's Wi-Fi, which is actually dual band, so it works with 2.4 and 5 gigahertz networks. There's an Ethernet connection, 433 megahertz sensors, and Z-Wave Plus for smart home integration. Let's not leave out the ease of integration with SnapAV's OvrC and Control4. So if you're already using those, I know a lot of people use the OvrC for remote diagnostics and network troubleshooting. If you're working with a robust luxury Control4 system, it's a breeze to grab the certified Control4 driver and auto-discover the ClareOne panel to use as your security platform. Plays nice with do-it-yourself devices. Users can go and add simple-to-use devices such as a door lock, maybe a plug-in dimmer module that's Z-Wave. You can add those devices simply through the Clare Home app. We do have support that we help customers and dealers. Next, we got the FusionPro. What is FusionPro? I know I've mentioned FusionPro a couple times. That's Clare's new powerful programming management platform. You can use FusionPro to do all of your customer account setup, all the system configuration, dealer administration, and remote troubleshooting. The old Fusion that we used to use, you would always have to call Clare Controls whenever you wanted to add a staff member, maybe you've hired a new technician. With this newer platform that we've got, you can now do all of that and administer your own company all by yourself. No longer need to call Clare. We don't have to approve any technicians, or you can actually add users, edit users, remove users as you see fit. Also, you can configure your security service plans for your customers and add to your monthly profits. We like to lead customers with the free smart home and then follow with self or professionally monitored tiers, which are usually at lower cost than other security providers can offer. I know we have a lot of door-to-door guys that go around and try to sell security, especially when someone closes on their new home. So we work with a lot of builders and try to get our foot in the door before these guys, go neighborhood to neighborhood trying to sell security. Smart and connected. What devices does Clare system integrate to? It's a lot. Smart lighting, door locks, wireless audio systems, shades, garage doors using Z-Wave, the MyQ Chamberlain system, and this month actually we're doing the Genie garage integration as well. We also work with thermostats, security, and different types of cameras. You can go hands-free and speak to your Clare system with the Amazon Alexa or Google Home. But if you're looking to do large custom projects that include theaters and advanced automations, you don't forget that Clare has a seamless integration to Control4. So we pretty much have the bases covered as far as all the devices you can use with the ClareOne. Here's a quick list of the brands that we work with. Clare works with the brands people know and trust. As mentioned earlier, the ClareOne ecosystem is fully scalable. from small systems with locks and thermostats to larger projects. Your customers have have a customizable smart home system. So you might have just a lock and a thermostat. The customer can still open up the mobile app and they'll be able to create their own scenes, schedules, automations, and notifications. And they don't need to call the dealer. They don't need to call Clare Controls. They'll be able to easily set this stuff up with the mobile app. We've really simplified the app, made it really super easy to do all of the above. All right, well, here it is. This is a look at the ClareOne panel. Taking a glance at the front of the panel, starting up at the top, there's a camera in the front center that takes snapshots when someone arms, disarms, or changes panel settings. So if somebody approaches the panel, goes in and maybe changes a PIN number or adds something to the panel, it will take a snapshot. So, you can say, hey, who added this PIN number, who disarmed the security system or whatnot. The physical panel is very thin, giving it a sleek, futuristic look when it's mounted on the wall. Looking at the interface, users have access to smart security where they can arm, disarm, bypass, and see their zone security status. So that's what that first icon is. Over on the left-hand side, it looks like a shield. The next menu icon on the bottom is Smart Home Access. This is where customers access their smart home devices in a customized fashion. Those that you see on the screen we call those tiles, where the customers, whatever's added, devices are added to their system, you can go in here and add those tiles in the order that you want, the interface to look. Most of the people put their favorite tiles there. If you've created scenes, you can see there's what the welcome scene, party time, good night. Those are simple macros that the customer has built where it's a one touch to trigger maybe how the lights turn off, the security arms, the temperature turns down in the home. Next one over is the heartbeat monitor icon. That is what displays the home activity history, snapshots, alarms, and other devices that have a history like door locks. The next one over is the settings cog, which you can access the user settings, installer settings. There's also other display settings and options in that button as well. And last is the emergency button, where customers can quickly access panic buttons for police, fire, and auxiliary. The ClareOne does support up to 128 security zones and 99 users. We do have a future update coming up, possibly by the end of the year, where we will allow multiple partitions. So if you're doing maybe a commercial job, maybe you even have a larger home with a detached garage, something like that, you'll be able to set up those partitions. So what else is the panel? We've got a nice 7-inch high-res touchscreen. That front camera is a 5 megapixel. This does come with 2 mounts. It comes with a wall mount and a tabletop mount. You absolutely have to use one of the mounts, as if you take the mount off, there is a tamper switch on the back of the panel. So you're gonna always wanna make sure that the mount is properly secured to the back of the panel. Color options, we do have a white and black. The bezel down at the bottom where you see it says Clare, that does come in white or black. Both of them come in the box. Two-way voice is enabled by default. It does have a SIM card that's built into the panel, so it's ready to go depending on what service plan tier you've chosen, which we'll get into here shortly. The communication paths, there's Ethernet, Wi-Fi, and LTE. And the reason we call those paths is because this system will fail over. If somebody maybe cuts the Ethernet cable, we'll fail over to the Wi-Fi, and then if something happens to the routers, somebody cuts power, we will switch over to the LTE connection. I do want to say the LTE connection is not only good for security alarm delivery, it's also good. You can arm, disarm, turn lights on, change thermostat settings, things like that, all through that LTE connection as well. Let's take a look at the back of the panel. As I mentioned, there is a Verizon LTE card in every single panel. You can see there's a SIM card that's mounted on the center of the panel in the back. This does support Wi-Fi. It's a dual band, so 2.4 and 5 gigahertz radio. All of the sensors are 433 megahertz encrypted. This works with Z-Wave Plus. There is Bluetooth. It's not enabled with the build that's out right now, but the Bluetooth is in there because those things are really difficult to add down the road. So it is built into the panel. We'll probably be using that for arming and disarming, and maybe even getting the app installed the first time for making it easy for the customers. Physical connections, there's a micro USB port for the power using the provided cable. That's the cable that you see, the white one that's plugged into the back of the panel that says DC. If that's the cable that comes with the panel with the power supply. If you look to the left of that connector, there's another green Phoenix connector for DC. If you're using your own power cable, which could be a 22 low voltage cable, or a Cat 5e or Cat 6 cable, you can use the existing power supply that comes with it. Remove the old or the other built-in micro USB cable and attach your own. You can plug this in for up to 100 or 125 feet away from the panel. There's also a contact closure for external siren. That's over on the right-hand side. You can see where it says siren. We do have Ethernet capability, but that is with a USB-C dongle or adapter that comes with every panel. You can see that fits into the LAN connection, which is next to the DC connector. Power requirements is 5 to 12 volts DC. So we do have the ability, like I said, you can usually go about 100 or 150 feet using the correct cable. No screws required to mount the panel to the back plate. However, we do have a couple of clips. So if you have a wall-mounted panel, if somebody hits, bumps, maybe a child smashes into the panel, it's not going to just pop off the bracket and tumble to the ground. There's a couple new brackets, clips that you can put that you can't see that affix to either side of the panel. This panel is ETL listed for residential and commercial. You can see the standards below there on the slide. Next, what comes in the box? Of course, you've got the ClareOne panel. You have the power supply with a retainer that keeps the power supply in the wall. You can either tie wrap the power supply to the retainer, or you can actually screw the retainer right into the wall outlet. It comes with the black bezel on the panel, but there is the white one if you wanted to swap them out. It comes with the USB-C Ethernet adapter. It comes with both stands, the table mount stand and the wall mount bracket. You can also get a standalone panel or a 2-in-1 kit. The 2-in-1 kit includes 2 door window sensors and a motion sensor. So both of those are going to be available. They have different SKUs, so you can buy one or you can buy the kit. Let's take a look at also with the ClareOne ecosystem. We've got the next couple pages on this slide deck are going to be the encrypted security sensors. And we are going to share this afterwards, so you'll be able to see all the details. I'll probably not get into and read every bullet point for every sensor here, but you can see there is a pretty good fleet of sensors that are available with the for the door window. I do want to point out some of the significant ones and the best sellers. Of course, the mini door window sensor that you see up on the top there, the CLR C1 MDW. That's probably the most popular sensor we have right now. A lot of people have also been purchasing that CLR C1, the external contact. That's there on the top right. Cool thing about this sensor is you can pop the top off, and it's actually got a connection inside where you can connect your own external sensor to it. So there's 2 screws with terminals where you can pop in. There's a hole in the side of that sensor where you can use your own external contact. Down below, we've got a shock sensor. This works really well if you have large picture windows. This will sense those and detect vibrations and impacts where you can't use an open closed type sensor. You can always use a shock sensor on a picture window or large window like that. The ClareOne recessed door window sensor, that is not available right today, but I believe that'll be readily available by the end of October, which is this month. And then there's the ClareOne outdoor gate sensor. This is a large contact with a pretty big antenna built into it. So obviously you can use it for pool gates, outdoor lanais, fenced in areas, and of course it's weather resistant for outdoor use. And at the bottom of the screen, you do see that all of these do use 433 megahertz technology. Next up, we've got the life safety devices. You've got a smoke detector, you've got your carbon monoxide sensor, and you've got your rate of rise heat detector. These are all really, really simple to pair to the system. They'll all come with a battery tab. You just yank the tab if it's the first time you're adding it. Otherwise, you just tamper it. typically you just rotate the top of it about 30 degrees, and it'll tamper it'll tamper. Next up is motion, glass break, and water sensors. You can see it's a typical ClareOne. It's a PRI motion sensor. It is pet immune and detects motion up to 90 degrees. The ClareOne glass break detector, I believe that is currently in the Snap store. You may have these already at the at Value Tone or the distributors as well. I don't know what SKUs you have. We'll probably discuss that here toward the end. But this monitors the sound of breaking glass, and it is tamper protected design. And then over on the far right there, you've got the ClareOne water detector. It'll detect even small amounts of water. You can use these in basements, underneath water heaters, under sinks, and things like that. Key fobs and siren. You've got the ClareOne key fob on the left. You've got the ClareOne Z-Wave indoor siren. Just remember, if you're going to be using this indoor siren, that it is a Z-Wave device. So Z-Wave, even if though it's Z-Wave Plus, they still like to have a good mesh network. So you're not going to want to go too far away without having either a Z-Wave repeater or some type of other Z-Wave devices to complete that a good solid mesh. And on the far right, you've got a ClareOne Panic key fob. It's just the single, the push button. And of course, if you have a monitored security system, this will not only signal the alarm, it'll also call out to the central station. Wired and wireless translators. We've just released this ClareOne 16 zone wired to wireless takeover module. I believe they're right now en route to the Snap store, so they will be readily available probably this week. I haven't checked today, but they may be available now. I haven't been out to the site in a couple days to check. But these allow takeovers of existing sensors. This does support up to 16 zones. It supports both hardwired magnetic contacts and power devices such as motion detectors. What that means, it's got an auxiliary power on it, so you can connect existing motion sensors and things like that. We also have a ClareOne wireless repeater translator. This is not released yet. I believe this is due out, I believe, by the end of next month. I believe it's going to be this quarter. So it's just not, you won't find this in the store just yet. But this will allow takeover existing wireless sensors like Interlogic's GE, the Colsys, Honeywell, the Legacy DSC, and NAPCO. This will also repeat signals for the ClareOne wireless sensors. So if you've got a large installation, maybe a couple floors, you may want to use a repeater if you're going for long distances in a large installation. The Clare Video Doorbell. We sold thousands of these doorbells. This is actually considered our version 3 or V3 doorbell. So if you hear someone talking about the Clare Video Doorbell and they say a V3, we did have a version 2, which was more of a rectangle look. This doorbell is, I believe, a lot better than the last, where this supports both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz networks. It's got a nice 3 megapixel starlight sensor. So it's got it's really nice view when you open this up. This does work with the ClareOne. In the mobile app, you'll be able to view the camera. It does have two-way audio with built-in microphone. How does this compare with the Rings and the Nests out there? One nice thing about this doorbell is there's no monthly fee, as there's a 16 gigabit SD card that comes in the doorbell. You can increase that up to 128 gigabytes if you want more storage. Typically, the 16 will last a good 30 days or so before it starts overwriting archived video that's saved. This does have a PRI-based human motion detection to eliminate false alarms. I know if you've had a doorbell before, you'll get things popping up on the screen when there's insects and the wind blows and leaves go by. This helps eliminate those false alarms. This works with both compatible and mechanical and digital chimes, where our version 2 doorbell only worked with mechanical. The voltage ranges here from 12 to 32 volts, so you do use the existing doorbell wiring. There is no battery that you put into this doorbell. It does have a battery that's built in. It's not removable. It's not something that you have to charge. So this also comes with spacer and angled wall mounts, and it does come with 3 plates that you can see there in the picture. There's brown black and white. FusionPro, there's going to be a couple screenshots here of FusionPro, some programming. You can see though, just looking at this this slide, that it's pretty systematic the way that you do the programming. Once we get in there, you're going to see once you've added an account, there's great views for remote diagnostics and troubleshooting where you just a couple clicks away, you'll be able to do diagnostics and make sure the customer's devices are online. It's very simple when you start creating customers accounts. It pretty much walks you through the different tabs to add customer information. You then add service plans, add your devices, you'll do your testing, and then finally you'll do your customer onboarding. It's a really neat layout the way that they've configured this. And like I said, we'll get into FusionPro as soon as the presentation's done. This is a view of service plans. You can see there's basic, interactive, interactive plus, and interactive plus LT. There's a slide presentation coming up here shortly where I'll discuss each one of these plans with a little more detail. And it's just another view of devices. Like I said, it's great for doing remote troubleshooting and diagnostics, especially if you're using OvrC. So between FusionPro and OvrC, you'll be able to pretty much prevent most truck rolls to see if devices are online or offline or their uptimes. And this is the onboarding tab. So once your installation is complete, you're happy, you've tested sensors. If it's a monitored system, of course, you've tested your central station, made sure that your alarms are making it across to the central station. You will go through these check boxes, and then this system allows you to send the customer an invitation. So in FusionPro, we automatically send a customer invitation once that button is pressed. And whatever the email that was used when you set up the customer's account, FusionPro will send an email to that address, formally inviting the customer to get in, download the app, whether they're getting their app from the Google Play Store or the App Store. They're going to grab the ClareOne app, create a login, and get right in. It's much, much more secure. It's a little more structured than it was on our previous app. All right, let's talk about FusionPro platform fees. So these fees, this is what's happening with our brand new FusionPro. Like I said, you can set up all the monitoring right through FusionPro. It's all consolidated. We made it really simple so you don't have to jump back and forth. We used to have something called Clare, which was a completely different isolated browser page where you'd have to go and set up your monitoring. Now it's all built into one area, so it's very simple to get in and out. So what does it cost? What is it? It's nothing. I mean, there's a free service that you can use for Clare dealers. We've built the platform for dealer success, so the only costs are for monitored services. What we did is we're really aiming to keep the dealer costs, recurring costs, low. So we start with a free for basic smart home services. It's particularly important for new home construction. I know when new homeowners, they move in, they don't want to hear that they're going to get swamped with fees. Of course, they've already got enough fees to worry about when they move into their new home. So typically, we start off with the basic, the free smart home. The difference between all of these different service plans is the basic is free. You can see that's the basic interactive on the top left. Then we get to Clare Interactive, which is self-monitoring, which is $1 a month. That $1 a month is to the dealer. We never charge the customer. But what's the difference between the two? The basic, we do not allow the customer to access the security portion of their smart home system. In other words, they're going to have the ClareOne app on their mobile device, but they won't be able to access the security portion. So they can't arm, disarm, they can't see zone statuses, they can't do self-monitoring. That's the free platform. If they want to do self-monitoring with push notifications, emails, text notifications, and have full access to the home for everything that's door lights, thermostats, security system, everything, that's going to be $1 a month to the dealer for self-monitoring. The next tier is called Clare Interactive Plus. This does everything that the Clare Interactive does, but this also enables the professional monitoring, but it does it through the internet service provider. So what does that mean? we're relying on the internet service provider, whether it's, a FiOS connection, places have different tiers. There might be cable service, whatever they're using for their internet service provider. However, if that connection fails or the router goes down or something happens to that service, they have no failover. So this is only doing monitoring over the home's IP network. So it's only doing alarm delivery over the internet service provider. That's $3 a month to the dealer. That means the dealer can turn around and charge, of course, whatever they're going to charge for security monitoring. The last tier is called Clare Interactive Plus LTE. This is where it actually enables the SIM card for the Verizon SIM card LTE cellular services that are built into every one of the panels. So this gives you everything. It's $5 a month, but remember, Clare doesn't actually do the monitoring. Clare forwards those alarms using contact ID to the central station. We have a whole list of central stations. As long as that central station uses a receiver number, and of course you get the account number, it should work with the Clare system. So that Clare Interactive Plus LTE is probably the most widely used plan that we've seen that dealers have been using, mostly because it uses that LTE service. So it's a great failover. So if something happens to the Ethernet connection or the Wi-Fi, it's going to immediately just fail over to the LTE services for both alarm monitoring and for controlling the smart home devices. I'm going to pause here just for a second if anybody has any questions. I know that we've covered quite a bit of material here. So if anybody wants to chime in, or I know we have a Q&A and a chat, we'll be happy to.
Yeah, we've got a couple things, Jerry. Hang on one sec. Let's address a couple questions real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure, it'd be great.
William came in with, when is the video doorbell V3 driver for Control 4 coming out? Do you have any date on that?
I don't have a date, but I can tell you right now that I'm here in the office and they're currently testing it right now. We do have streaming ability right now, so I don't have an exact date, but I know it should be really soon.
Great.
It should be within, I would guess, this month probably.
Cool. Good to know. Thanks, William. Ron asked, if you integrate a system with Control 4, can you use the interactive package and use Control 4 for notifications / self-monitoring? You can. Yep. So you could use that system. That's a great question. So with that certified driver with Control 4, once you bring that into the Control 4 Composer software, you can trigger events, notifications, and everything through their platform. Cool.
That's good.
Thank you, Ron, for that. Carl, is there any OvrC integration with this? Jerry, you going to go over that in the...
We are. Yep. Well, I'll do a little demo here coming up when I do the live demo. And we'll jump right into OvrC. I'll show you how to implement and how to get your ClareOne device into OvrC. We'll take a look at that.
All right, Carl, so stay tuned for that. And then lastly, Scott, please confirm I+ LTE fees doesn't include the cell phone service nor the central monitoring.
Is that question written down here where I can?
It's in the Q&A. If we got to circle back on Scott's question, we'll get back with that.
Let's see. Please confirm the Interactive Plus LTE fees doesn't include the cell phone service nor the central monitoring. So the Clare Interactive Plus does not include the LTE service. It's strictly monitoring over the internet service provider. It does not use the SIM card, so it does not use the LTE service. The only plan that does is the Clare Interactive Plus LTE, which is $5 a month.
All right, good. Thanks for the clarification there. All right, that does it. We're about halfway through. Jerry, why don't we roll forward?
Okay, sounds good. Okay, here we go with the timeline. So this might answer a few of people's questions here. You can see right now what's available. The ClareOne wireless security, obviously that's the smart home platform, the panel itself. The Clare mobile app had been released shortly after the panel was actually released back in the beginning of summer. We do have these following ClareOne sensors. You can read through the list here. It's most of them. The only thing that's missing out of here, I believe, is the recessed contact sensor and probably the glass break. But both of those should be available this month. We've got Control 4 base driver and OvrC. Those are both available now. So even if you're in Composer, I saw a demo where one of the dealers was able to bring in that driver right from Composer, and it automatically finds the ClareOne panel, which is really cool. And of course, you can use voice control with Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant. It's compatible now with that. So what's coming up? I believe, like I said, probably this week, and at the latest next week will be the ClareOne 16-zone hardwired input module. We also have an auxiliary keypad. So you've got your main panel, which would be the ClareOne panel, but we have an ATP, which is an auxiliary touch panel, which is a 7-inch touchscreen with an interface that matches the ClareOne panel. That's going to be, I believe you can find that right now in the Snap Store, and it'll say coming soon. But that's going to be available by the end of the month. The recessed door window sensor, enhanced C4 driver. They're going to be adding some new things in there. I know the doorbell is going to be working in there. They're also going to be able to add a few more smart home devices to that driver as well. I could probably get the release notes on that if we need some more clarification. Custom zone configurations. That's going to be actually doing customized zones configurations in FusionPro and in the ClareOne panel. And then in FusionPro, there's a few things that haven't been completed that are in there right now, like the test tab, which we're going to get into here shortly. Some of the central station fields, we're going to allow you to export those fields, and then it's going to be much easier to get that data into your central station. Account export report, where you're going to be able to export reports from FusionPro, and then custom zone naming. Right now you can name the custom zones, but the panel won't enunciate those names if they're custom. In other words, if you name a zone a front door, the panel will say front door, when it's open or closed. But if you give that zone a particular custom name, it won't pronounce that name when you open and close the door, but it will once we add this new voice engine into the panel. And Q4 and beyond is the ClareOne wireless to wireless repeater. You saw a picture of that. We have a ceiling mount 360 PIR sensor. The deluxe secondary keypad, that's going to look exactly like the ClareOne panel, but it just doesn't have the brain in it of the main panel. We're also going to have a new camera line, which is going to have a great line of some budget cameras that are going to be great for customers, really affordable cameras. ClareOne Video Doorbell V3 support. So what we're doing here, you'll be able to ring the Clare Video doorbell and answer it on the ClareOne panel, which you'll also be able to speak through the two-way voice through the panel to answer the doorbell, which is awesome. The multi-partition support. Amazon Alexa hub that's built into the panel. There is a hardware Alexa hub that's built in. It just hasn't been enabled in the panel that's released right now, but that'll be built in as well. So you don't have to use an external hub or an Amazon Alexa or Dot to control this. You'll be able to do it right through the panel. For those that are security conscious that don't like to be listened to, you will have the ability to turn that off as well. FusionPro API, FusionPro integration of third-party systems. So we probably are going to open up an API for FusionPro. You'll be able to use it with CRM systems and things. And then there's a Control 4 master driver. I don't know what all the details are that they're going to be putting in that, but I believe you're going to be able to control Z-Wave devices and things through the Control 4 platform, not just the security panel. Okay, take a look at a couple other of the products that Clare offers, and then we will take a little bit of a break, answer some more questions, and I'm going to dive into FusionPro. So I'll get through this pretty quick here. These are all Z-Wave Plus devices that you see here. There's an in-wall switch, which comes with 2 plates. You can get it in white or almond. Like I did say, these are all Z-Wave Plus certified. You can use this up to a 3, 4, or 5-way circuit. There's an in-wall accessory switch. That's the one that makes this into a 3-way or more. There's an in-wall dimmer, and then there's a plug-in dimmer. Plug-in dimmer, customers can actually install that themselves if they choose. More lighting, there's an in-wall fan control, in-wall receptacle, outdoor plug-in switch, and then there's a 5-scene keypad, which works not just with lighting. you can actually trigger other scenes and macros of whatever you program with the 5-scene keypad. In other words, you could have a good morning, you could arm your security system, you could do lighting or whatever you choose. Here's our current selection of cameras. We went through the doorbell. We had a screen that went through some of the details on the doorbell. We also have a 2-megapixel mini dome camera. We have a turret camera, which is probably our most popular today. And we have a 2-megapixel mini bullet camera. These are all PoE as well. These next ones on this screen are both Wi-Fi enabled. With this mini dome actually has a built-in microphone as well. Every one of our cameras also has a micro SD card support, so you could put an SD card in if you don't want to purchase an NVR network appliance. Maybe you just have 1 or 2 cameras, you want to record to those cameras, you can put an SD card in them. They do not come with an SD card, but they are compatible with up to 128 gigabytes. The next one over is the 2-megapixel indoor Wi-Fi cam. And then, of course, we do carry micro SD cards, and we do carry a PoE injector, so you don't have to plug the camera in. It's always easier to use a PoE injector to get those cameras powered. A couple of thermostats. We have a touch screen and a push-button thermostat. These are actually April Air thermostats that we OEM at Clare. There's a Z-Wave repeater, and then there is a linear Z-Wave garage door module. Keep in mind, we are also compatible with the MyQ Chamberlain garage door opener, and this month I believe we have the Genie. They have their own solution for garage doors too. We just wrote a driver for that. Quick recap here. The ClareOne Advantage, fully unified smart home and smart system platform, fills a large market gap and disrupts traditional security. We have a simple interface consistent across the panel and mobile devices. We talked about the scalability. If you have just a simple entry-level system, all the way up to a fully customizable or big luxury control 4 system, you can use the ClareOne as a security panel. Integrates with the brands customers use now. A lot of the customers you'll find already have some of these products in their homes. So when you put in a ClareOne panel, it'll adapt right into that system. Plays nice with do-it-yourself, preserving RMR for partners. Voice ready with Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant. FusionPro makes dealers' lives easier from setup to troubleshooting. Backend pricing model saves dealers money and expands RMR opportunities. This is really, really simple to install. It takes just minutes, both to do the actual physical install and to do the actual programming in FusionPro. We do have training, which I'll get into here shortly. It's in a couple different places where you can access your training. The panel is ETL listed and complies with all relevant security standards, and there is a 2-year warranty on all the products. So I'm going to hang on just a second here and talk about how do you become a dealer. We have a link here, which takes you right out to our dealer application. I know that somebody put in a link in the chat as well. Maybe we could plop that in there again. So basically the way this works, you do have to become a SnapAV dealer, and you do have to become a Clare dealer. The turnaround is really, really quick. What happens is you fill out the paperwork. Once you fill out that paperwork, it gets submitted to Clare and to SnapAV. We have someone dedicated actually here at Clare Controls in the office. Her name is Angie. They really, really streamline this process. The application goes right to Snap. They stamp a yes on it. It gets approved, and pretty much, I mean, you could be purchasing products I've seen in less than 24 hours. So it's really a streamlined process to do that. It's a simple application for both Snap. You just need to go through that process and get approved. It's pretty easy.
Hey, Jerry,
Sure.
I definitely want to interject here because obviously this audience might not have had that direct communication with SnapAV. So if you do have dialogue with Angie, I'm going to have this link absolutely on tonight's email. I definitely want to push you guys over there to help complete this process, primarily so that you're ready to go. You know, a job comes up in the next couple of weeks. I want you guys concerned of designing and integration, not this process. I really, with Jerry, I'd like to make it as easy as possible. So,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm really glad we've got Angie there looking for our dealers coming through. And as I had mentioned earlier, you know, the SNAP affiliation, getting that SNAP number, I don't want that to be confusing. I want that to be as easy as possible. So let's maybe get Angie's email involved as well, or whatever we have to do just to make it easier. But we are looking for this process to start happening in the next couple of weeks. I mean, we've got close to 60 guys on here right now, and ladies as well. So let's try to help them be identified, get their ducks in a row, and move forward from here. So look for my email later tonight. And we're here to make this process especially easy so we can move forward.
Awesome. Yeah, I will.
We can continue. Let me know when you're ready to do some more Q&A, buddy.
Okay. Do we want to stop here, because there's probably going to be more questions after I go through the programming. So maybe this would be maybe just take a minute or two or 3 minutes or so to stop here real quick, so we don't get too far behind with questions.
Yeah, it's hard for me to tell, you know, whether or not they've covered it or not, but let's take a few. Rob out of Riverside, our security expert out of Volutone. Thank you, Rob. On dual path comm, which reports first, cell or network?
It would be your network. So it's going to try to go across your internet service provider. If that path is breached or broken, it's going to automatically fail over to LTE.
Got it. Thanks, buddy. This is Bob Bentley. My home has full Honeywell Vista security system and a full Control 4 system. Can I replace one or all of the keypads currently used with a Clare panel?
The keypads, yes. It's all we would really need to do is power those, and you could actually use Wi-Fi. So I don't know how many panels or how many keypads you have, but ours are all wireless. So you know you could probably use some of the wiring that goes to those panels now to power the panel. I think that would probably work fine. You could also take that Vista thing over with a 16-zone wired to wireless translator at this point as well.
There's a couple other things maybe we might circle back on. Let's continue the presentation, and we got about 10 more minutes.
Okay.
All right, guys, thank you.
Cool. I will. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just jump into to FusionPro. I don't want to. So you guys can see what this looks like here. Hopefully this switched okay. Can you see this okay?
I can see it.
Great. So this is FusionPro. Over on the left-hand side, you can see we've got a home, accounts, companies, and help center. It's really, really simple to navigate. I want to start at the companies here just to kind of show and poke around here. I've made my own company called Clare Training. The way that this works, if I edit this, you're going to see that it opens up some new sub-tabs. Most importantly, you have your central station information here, where the way that this works is we made a separate area to add in your central station information. So then whenever you go to add an account, a customer account, you can just pick the central station information from the tab at the top of your screen. Reason we did that is so you're not always continually adding in your phone numbers and stuff like that for your if you do monitored accounts. This will make sense when I go and open up an account. Like I said in the PowerPoint slide earlier, we do have the ability to add our own staff members. So if you hired somebody, maybe it's a new technician, you just enter their first name, last name, their email address, select what their user type is. There's a couple different ones: billing, company admin, installer, and security admin. There's just different, they'll have different views depending on what user type you've selected. Once you do that and you create this, it'll automatically send an email to that person, sending them an invitation to get into FusionPro. Really simple. Last tab here is account view filters. If you get into a lot of accounts, maybe you've got 50, 100, 500, you can create account view filters, which will easily allow you to focus in. Maybe you work with a builder and you wanted to look up a specific street name, zip code, builder name, something like that. You could build filters to be able to sort through your accounts really, really easily and efficiently. And since we're a little bit short on time here, I'm going to go through an account here just to show you how simple this thing is to add. When you go to add an account, you just hit the Add Accounts button here. You fill out the customer details and the information. This would just be their email address, first name, last name.
Hey Jerry, I'm getting comments that they can't see it. I see.
Okay.
What I see is let's get started. Questions, thank you. page.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting
We've
me
been
know.
moving forward. Let's try to catch them up. It would have been about 3
Okay.
slides ago.
Gotcha.
Thanks, audience, very much.
Thank you for letting me know. Here we go. It's the old 2-monitor trick.
Got it.
So
I see your
started here.
cursor. Yeah.
It's good.
I see your cursor. So right now, yeah, FusionPro.
Okay, good. So the first thing I was showing is the menu on the left-hand side. And I apologize for that. I have 2 monitors. I thought I switched, but it didn't switch over. And I got into editing my company, where you've got central station information, staff, and account view filters. Central stations is where you could add your own central station in here. And the reason we have this separate from the accounts is so that you don't always have to just keep adding in central station information, phone numbers over and over and over again. We tried to simplify this, so once you've added in your central station number, you can just choose it from when you build an account from the screen. Like I said, it'll make more sense when we get into an account. You'll be able to see where the drop-down menu is to pick whatever the security central station is. Keep in mind, this is only for if you're doing a monitored account. We also have the ability to add staff members. You can click Add Staff. You got first name, last name. You can put in email addresses, and there's a couple different user types that you can choose. Depending what they use, they'll have different views when they log into the system. The last tab here is Account View Filters. You can add these filters if you're working with a builder, especially if you get up to like 50, 100, 500 accounts. You can build these filters to easily sort out and find, if you're looking for a particular zip code, street, builder name, something like that, you can build these filters. Jump over to accounts. You can see there's a couple of these accounts that are currently made. If you're adding an account, you simply add account here with the big blue button. You just fill in the customer details. You got first name, last name, phone numbers, account numbers, and such. You put in their system address, and then you're going to actually add the panel to the system. The way that when you go to add the controller, there's a QR code on the back of every ClareOne panel that we sell or that goes out. Every panel that you get will have this code or a special unique identification number called a UUID. You simply take that code. You can either scan it with your mobile device, scan it with your laptop, or you can just punch the code in, and it'll look just like this. It's really, really simple to get your panels added to FusionPro. You can enter your UUID here, which is simply the MAC address, or you could just scan the code by opening your camera here. Once you do that, you'll test your connection, you'll save your controller, and it'll open up an account. It'll look exactly like this that you see on the screen. This will give you the customer information that you entered. It'll give you some of the system info, and this is where you start going through the different tabs to do your programming. You can change the contact. Maybe if you're using a panel for a demo or something, and then you want to go and actually, I see Clint is in here, and then you want to go maybe swap this and use it at a customer's place, you could actually switch the primary contact over and edit this address. The service plans that we saw in the slideshow, this is where you configure those plans. You've got basic, interactive, interactive plus, and interactive plus LTE. Once you've selected your plan, you enter in the monitoring services. This is where you pick your central station that I showed just a minute ago. You had a list of central stations and the company information. You can see you pick out your central station here. You've got your customer phone number to which the caller ID is traced, and then you've got your central station account number. Of course, you don't have to memorize all this now, but it's really, really easy to enter this information, save it. This is where you can also activate your cell card, do your two-way calling as well from this area. If you have two-way calling numbers set up with your central station, you can save that information here. So then if you have a customer that goes in and switches their, that turns on their emergency calling, if they hit that emergency, a panic, it'll immediately call out to the fire dispatch or whichever. If it's a silent panic, it'll immediately call the authorities. Next over is devices. This is where you can simply add your devices. If it's a ClareOne panel, you're going to see that that's automatically in here. If I go to edit, you can add zones, delete zones. You can see signal strengths. You can do rename your zones. Anything that you want to do that you could do in front of the panel, you can do here in FusionPro. All of your device settings are here. And keep in mind, this is all done through, you can either do it through a laptop, mobile device, tablet, whatever you want to use. It works on mobile devices as well. So all of your advanced configuration is here as well for your panel. Timers, settings, pin numbers, and such. If I wanted to add other devices, you know, like MyQ garage door openers, things like that, you can add them right through this add devices list. Climate control, lighting, audio. We do have security in here because we do have legacy controllers that are still out there that are compatible with older security systems like DSC, Interlogix, Honeywell, that sort of thing. Of course, this gives you all of your status as well. You can see online, offline devices like you can see here. And these tabs, like I said, are laid out in the order that you would typically do your programming. Next is actions. So if your customers build these actions through their mobile app, they will show up on this screen. If they do a good morning or if they schedule notifications, you'll be able to get into this screen. And you know, if somebody calls and says, hey, we scheduled our lights to come on at 8 p.m., but they never turned on, you'll be able to come in here and see what they've added through their ClareHome app and troubleshoot it. Next is the test screen. This is where you're going to be able to export your test results, and you'll be able to test any of the devices that are connected to the ClareOne panel. It could be a Z-Wave, it could be any of the security sensors and such. You'll be able to test all of these through this panel or through this tab. This is going to be available, the timeline said, I believe by the end of this year, it'll be done. And then the formal way to invite your customer once the system is ready, you just check all these boxes and there'll be a send customer invitation down here at the bottom. You just tap it and it sends an automated email to the customer information address that you used when you created the system. And they'll easily be able to download the app, create their credentials, and log in the first time. Really, really simple. Next thing I just want to touch on quickly is OvrC. You can easily open up an OvrC account from FusionPro and vice versa. If you're in OvrC, you can easily bounce right back into FusionPro from OvrC as well. To add a panel into OvrC, you would simply click Add Device. You put in that MAC address, and then you'll need your panel serial number. It'll find the device and it'll add it just like you've added your other devices to OvrC. For those that are new and aren't familiar with OvrC, this is a great proprietary tool for troubleshooting and remote diagnostics for networking that's from SnapAV. They've done a really great job. You can set up notifications. You can see when things, the uptime. You can actually go in and reboot devices, check all that sort of thing from here. Like I said, you can launch FusionPro from here as well. So you can go both from FusionPro into OvrC or from OvrC right back into your FusionPro project. So they've done a really nice job. So this is what it looks like with a ClareOne panel that's added to this OvrC account. And how about contact and support? I don't want to forget talking about our support. Our first tier of support when you're using the ClareOne panel is actually SnapAV support. If you have any kind of escalations, things like that, they will point you to Clare support. We have a great team of guys here that will take your calls, emails. We're always on the lookout for tickets. You can come out to the Clare Controls webpage, to the support page, and you can support it. You can go right to submitting a ticket right from here. You can contact sales. We have a great help center you can use. You can also access Snap University and do your Clare training there as well.